topic I'm going to take up is somewhat very relevant for all of you as a teachers. And my first question to you is, why do we teach at all? Why do we teach? Any answers? Any answers to those? Anji? What development of society? बहुत बड़ा है ना? और कुछ? Sharing knowledge. So I come to the class, I deliver the content. मैंने तो share कर दी. Should be a two-way process. Okay, as a development of a learner with respect to what? ठीक है, development होती है, but with respect to what? Okay, fine. No, but while you are giving instruction, what is the major purpose you want to achieve? Learning. You want to induce learning among the learners. And उन्होंने बोला personality. So you are aiming at developing the personality of the learner? Are you? हाँ, बोलिए. Okay. Now, when you say learning, the student who graduate from the polytechnic or the student who graduate from the engineering college, what is it that we expect from them? You should have skill. You should be having something, a kind of attitude to work in the industry. Okay. You should be having some kind of knowledge. Okay. Okay. When somebody possesses the knowledge, skills, and attitude required for a particular job, what do we call that person as? Professional. Okay. और कुछ? ठीक है. Skilled. Okay. Professional, I would expect. So let me just share, you are very right when you say so. So the topic which I am going to take up, वो मैं बताती हूँ आपको, लेकिन आपने जो बोला है, that is very correct when you say that we look at diploma institutions or we look at degree institutions. The purpose is that we want to develop competent graduates, whether they are diploma holder or degree holders. And when you say competent, a competent person possesses the technical knowledge related to the subject, possesses the technical skills which are essential to perform in the world of work, as well as the person needs to have the desirable or favorable attitude towards work or attitude and behavior towards work. So these are three essential attributes which a person must possess. And wherever we have seen the studies which are available, whether it is India's skill report or whether it is concerning the manpower research group report, all highlight that our graduates, irrespective of diploma or engineering institutions, they are lacking technical knowledge, they lack technical skills, and to that extent they lack the soft skills which form the part of attitude and behavior. Now, in that context, when we know that these are the three important aspects, the outcome-based education, which has been accepted widely since 2014, and the institutions are made mandatory to opt for the accreditation process. And each program which is offered by the polytechnic or the engineering institution, thank you, Aman, so that need to be accredited. So the whole process of designing teaching and learning has reversed. Now you can see OBE, outcome-based education. It focuses on the outcomes which you expect any system to deliver. And then these are translated into the outcomes at the program level, at the course level. And then you can see then curriculum is designed keeping in mind the outcomes. And teaching learning strategies are further aligned to the outcomes. It is not that we have simply input output model where we had input students, then we subjected them to certain curriculum and instructional processes, and there was output from the system. So outcome based education, you need to align your teaching learning strategies to the outcomes, and finally the assessment. So the starting point for any program would be to identify the outcomes which are the attributes which the graduates must possess. Right? सुना है नाम कि नहीं सुना आज तक outcomes? सुना है? Okay. So when you look at this, then let me. So there are four important terms which come into play. One is program education objectives. PO stands for program outcomes. CO stands for course outcomes. And then you can see in between, you can find program specific outcomes. Now, when you say program education objectives, this is what is expected of a learner or a graduate after 4 to 5 years of graduation. आपके सिस्टम से पास आउट हो गया, 4-5 साल के बाद वो बच्चा क्या कर रहा होगा. If you try to specify those, these become the program education objectives, and these are related to personal and professional aspiration of the people. Say for example, जो आपका civil engineer है, he can be a junior engineer in PWD department, है ना? He can work as junior engineer or assistant to some contractor, right? Or the person can work in the industry, working on some R&D project. There are different roles a person can play. Or a person like civil engineer may try to set up his own bench. होता है ना? एक तो 3-4 और the person may go for the higher education system. अगर डिप्लोमा होल्डर है, डिग्री के लिए चला जाएगा. अगर डिग्री होल्डर है, मास्टर्स के लिए चला जाएगा. मास्टर्स है तो पीएचडी करने के लिए चला जाएगा. तो ये 3-4 ऑप्शंस अपने पास अवेलेबल है. So what a student will be able to do after 4 to 5 years of graduation is referred to as program education objectives. Clear? Second, program outcomes. As the term indicates, what a student will be able to do on completion of a particular program. वो 3 साल का डिप्लोमा है या 4 साल की डिग्री है. At the end of 3 years, what a civil engineer will be able to do, or at the end of diploma, what a student will be able to do. अगर वो specify करते हैं हम, those become program. And then आप देखिए बीच में term आ गई है program specific outcomes. Program specific outcomes का मतलब है whatever are the areas of specialization you offer to your students, अगर उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए आप specify करते हो outcomes, those become the program specific outcome. For example, computer science है आपका program. Computer science में whether your program is enabling the learners to specialize in cloud computing, whether the program allows them to specialize in artificial intelligence, whether your program allows them to specialize in the area of software engineering, किस area में आपकी महारत है, where you are trying to develop those specific skills in that particular area of specialization. अगर वो आप specify करते हैं तो those are referred to as program specific outcomes. And lastly, you see the term which has come into being is course outcome. Course outcomes simply जैसे आपने कहा प्रोग्राम के अंत में क्या होगा, कोर्स का मतलब है at the end of the course. That means अगर आपका एक सेमेस्टर का कोर्स है, at the end of 6 months, what a student would be able to do on completion of a course, right? अगर एक साल आपका annual system है, at the end of 1 year, a particular course which you have to take introduction to computers, that is one of those courses. After studying that subject for a semester or a year, what a student will be able to do? अगर हम उस चीज को स्पेसिफाई करते हैं तो वो क्या कहलाएगा? कोर्स। ये चीजें जो हैं आपके करिकुलम डॉक्यूमेंट में will be available, right? लेकिन as a teacher, where is my role? My role is to facilitate the attainment of these outcomes, right? बच्चे को मैंने facilitate करना है by providing the experiences so that he is able to carry out the work which is specified in terms of outcomes. And teacher course curriculum तो मुझे मिल गया बना है. As a teacher, I plan for topics, I plan for lessons. I do need to write learning outcomes for the topic I am going to teach or the lesson I am going to deliver. एक टॉपिक पढ़ाने के लिए maybe you require 3 lectures, वो 3 lessons हो गए. एक टॉपिक को पढ़ाने के लिए maybe you require 8 lectures, तो वो 8 lessons हो गए, right? So in other words, when we look at, ये तो मैंने आपको करा ही दी है. Now you, before we switch over, you can see the examples. Program education objective, right? तो ये क्या है? At the end of the program, after 4 to 5 years of graduation. ठीक है? Any questions? Okay. ये आपके आईटी इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के फील्ड के रिलेटेड प्रोग्राम एजुकेशन ऑब्जेक्टिव हैं. देन यू कैन सी यूज प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स. तो प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स आपने दे आर डायरेक्टली ड्रिवन फ्रॉम द ग्रेजुएट. आपने कभी सुनी है ये टर्मिनोलॉजी कि नहीं? एनबीए एजुकेशन. ठीक है. So graduate attributes, A to K graduate attributes are here. Program outcomes are directly translated from those graduate attributes. ठीक है? Then course outcome की example आपको दे देती हूँ. ये course outcome है. For example, ये 3 subjects you can see. The course outcome at the end of the course. If you look at a program क्या कंसिस्ट करता है? नंबर ऑफ कोर्सेज आप जो फर्स्ट ईयर में पढ़ाते हो, सेकेंड ईयर में पढ़ाते हो, थर्ड ईयर में पढ़ाते हो, एंड देन ईच कोर्स कंसिस्ट ऑफ number of topics, right? So topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, and program outcomes, course outcomes, they are available in curriculum document, but what a teacher has to do is to write outcomes at the lesson level. जो मैं आज क्लास में कराने जा रही हूँ, क्लास के बाद what a student will be able to do, those I need to specify, state. तो इसी को हम कहते हैं learning outcomes. Learning outcomes की definition क्या है? Simple definition is these are statements regarding what a student is able to do at the end of unit of instruction. ये unit of instruction can be a lesson, can be a topic, can be a course, can be a program, can be a program. Simple. अब इस चीज में let me give you few examples from the various topics. अब देखिए, define efficiency, define programming, compare diesel engine with petrol engine, or differentiate between stack and array. Identify the mistakes written in program C++. Write a program in C++, or design a staircase for 3-story building or residential, right? अब मुझे ये बताओ, among these outcomes which are written here, what is the commonality? What is the commonality? ये जो लिस्ट आप देख रहे हैं, इसमें कुछ commonality नजर आ रही है? ये all these are learning outcomes. Student will be able to define, compare, differentiate, identify, write. What is the commonality among these? Name, please. Dr. Tanu is right when she says all these learning outcomes start with an action verb. Action verb means in English we say activity verb. So this is same. That means action verb specifies the behavior the student needs to demonstrate. This define can be orally done, define can be done in written, right? Or when you say compare, compare means you are trying to have the similarities and the differences. When you say use the verb differentiate, it means student is able to highlight the point of differences. And then identify, that means if there is a program written in C++, the person can identify, that means locate a mistake which has been made in the program. Then write means he can use all the concepts, rules, and write a program in C++. Then design means every bit of knowledge he has acquired is now being applied in creating a new design for staircase. Agreed? So first thing is all learning outcomes, they start with action verb. They are specific because define has one meaning only for me, for you, for any other third person. Define means the standard definition of the term. ठीक बात है? When we say compared, it means points of similarities and differences. So it is very clear what a learner has to do. Any other commonality? Any other commonality you see? Another important characteristic of learning outcome is these are measurable. These are measurable. Now, any behavior which is observable is measurable. Define करेगा, as I said, orally या written में आप observe कर सकते हो. Compare करेगा, differentiate करेगा, list करेगा या identify करेगा mistake. That behavior can be observed by any other person. So any behavior which is observable is measurable. So second characteristic is measurable. Third characteristic of good learning outcome is these are attainable. They can be achieved. If you are talking in terms of lesson level outcomes, they can be achieved at the end of lesson. If you're talking about the topic level outcomes, they can be attained at the end of the topic, course outcome at the end of course, and program outcomes at the end of program. Another one is all these learning outcomes are, if they are attainable, achievable, they are realistic. They are realistic. They are relevant to the context in which you are teaching. And T stands for time framed. All these learning outcomes are time frame. So the acronym which we can use is SMART. Learning outcomes are SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, then realistic and time frame. Any questions so far? Clear है जी? Any question? Okay. अब ये जो हम बात करते हैं learning outcomes की, they fall in 3 different domains. आपने कहा था knowledge is one which the student should possess. All those learning outcomes which relate to acquisition of information fall in the domain of cognitive. That is, they fall in cognitive domain. All those learning outcomes which relate to acquisition of information fall in the cognitive domain. Psychomotor, क्या होता है psychomotor? हाँ जी? Practical skills. So psycho deals with cognition, motor deals with muscular coordination. So say for example, operating a lathe, है ना, is a what? Practical skill which requires cognition as well as the muscular coordination. So all those technical skill related learning outcomes fall in the psychomotor domain. And affective deals with attitudes and behavior. All learning outcomes that relate to attitude and behavior, they fall in the affective domain. Clear? Okay. Then let's first of all take cognitive domain. जब हम बात करते हैं cognitive domain की, Bloom is the person who has given the taxonomy way back in 1956. And now the revised, you can see the new terms. This is a revised taxonomy given by Anderson and Krathwohl in 2001, right? Now here you can see, I forget about this, but let's focus on the new terminology. In the cognitive domain, learning outcomes can be written at 6 different levels. What are those 6 different levels? The first one is remembering, second one is understanding, third is applying, fourth is analyzing, fifth one is evaluating, and sixth one is creating. अब देखिए, whatever subject you teach, there are number of things which require rote memorization on the part of the learner. कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं सब्जेक्ट में जो रोट मेमोराइजेशन चाहती हैं बच्चे से? बताइए. हाँ जी, फॉर्मूला, ओके, और कुछ? रिएक्शन मैकेनिज्म, रट्टा नहीं लग सकता. और सोचो, एम्पेरिकल क्यों कह रहे हो? एम्पेरिकल और डेटा बेस्ड और एविडेंस बेस्ड, तो उसमें रट्टा लगाने की कहां से जरूरत होगी? रट्टा कब लगाता है बच्चा? फैक्ट्स, राइट? या डेफिनेशन है, या स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द रूल है, प्रिंसिपल्स है, उसको याद रखना है. क्या होता है प्रिंसिपल? जूल्स लॉ, चार्ल्स लॉ, ओम्स लॉ, क्या है न्यूटन्स लॉ, क्या है ये? So if you want the person to give a statement, he need to use the cognitive processes called cognition, that is remembering. Rote memorization. So the first level you can see is the things which require rote memorization, recall of the learned information when it is needed, and you are able to use it in a given situation. ठीक है? तो इसमें ज्यादा क्या हुआ? फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन एज वेल एज द डेफिनेशंस, प्रिंसिपल स्टेटमेंट, एडवांटेजेस, डिसएडवांटेजेस किसी चीज की, द टाइप्स ऑफ, इनलिस्ट करना है कोई, तो वो सिर्फ नाम ही आने हैं. जैसे आप कहते हैं पेट्रोल, डीजल, या आपका डीजल इंजन है, सो ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फ्यूल द इंजन कैन बी क्लासिफाइड इनटू 2. अभी तो इलेक्ट्रिकल भी हो गया, but if we say so petrol and diesel engine, right? So it is only naming or enlisting or listing जहाँ पे आपकी चाहिए, या reproduction of the information. Those learning outcomes are at the remembering level. ठीक है? Next is understanding. देखिए, अब मुझे बताइए, if I say define engine and then I say explain the concept of engine, कोई अंतर है दोनों में? दोनों में कोई अंतर है?
When you said define engine, you are specifying that you want a definition only.
Okay.
And when you are telling that explain, that you want an example also, everything about that topic, it's a broad topic.
Good. So it is not restricted to reproduction of the learned knowledge, but the student has to use his own words to explain engine. He can give examples, right? At the same time, you can see the person can indulge into summarizing, inferring, interpreting relationships. So, for example, I understand the concept of stress and strain. Now, you give me a graph showing the relationship between stress and strain. So, looking at the graph, I can come to the conclusion stress is directly proportional to strain. कह सकते हो ना? या voltage is directly proportional to current, depending upon what the graphical representation is. Then you can also predict a phenomena. सपोज कर लीजिए मैं आपको गोल्ड प्राइसेस फॉर द लास्ट 10 मंथ्स दे देती हूँ. मैं कहती हूँ इन 2024 what will be the price of the gold. So based upon the data, you can calculate or project or predict the gold price in 2024. कर सकते हैं ना. या पॉपुलेशन का हम कह सकते हैं these are the figures for the last 10 years. So next 10 years में 2040 से what will be the population of India? One can, depending upon the rate of increase, can predict the population of India. ठीक है. So second higher level of outcomes is outcomes at the understanding level. That is what a student can explain in his own words, give examples, summarize, interpret the relationship between the learned concepts, and then he can predict a phenomena. ठीक. तो इसमें क्या आ जाएगा? आपकी theories, आपके models, आपकी classification systems. When you ask a person to explain those, these are nothing but learning outcomes at the understanding level. Go to the next level. Why do we teach all these concepts and principles, theories, models? Because we expect a learner to apply this knowledge in new situation. देखिए एक छोटा सा बच्चा है आपका जो भी क्लास 3rd 4th में पढ़ रहा है. ही इज टॉट एडिशन एंड सब्ट्रैक्शन. कहाँ अप्लाई करता है वो एडिशन सब्ट्रैक्शन? यस. ओके. वो उसमें न्यू सिचुएशन में वो प्रिंसिपल यूज करता है. देन ओनली वी से ही हैज लर्नड एडिशन एंड subtraction. Young, give a 500 rupee note to the child, ask him to buy certain things from the market, then he can calculate the price, he can calculate how much he has spent and what was the balance, addition and subtraction. Likewise, a student who is learning the principles of physics, वो आइडेंटिफाई कर लेता है कौन सी पॉजिटिव वायर है, कौन सी नेगेटिव वायर है, कौन सी अर्थ वायर है. ही कैन डू दैट. When you learn the principle of inertia of movement, what is expected of you? That you will keep your face in the direction in which the bus is moving. Otherwise, you will fall. So, inertia of movement ka principle apply ho raha hai. When you use utensils at home, there are किस चीज के बने होते हैं? प्लास्टिक हैंडल्स, है ना? क्यों? प्लास्टिक इज अ okay. So all those principles which the learner is learning, those are getting applied in real life situation or the world of work. Apply. Then comes the higher level of analyzing, learning outcomes at the analyzing level. क्या समझते हैं analyzing से? Analyzing से क्या समझते हैं? हाँ जी, बिल्कुल ठीक है. नाम आपका? Swati is quite right when she says analyzing means breaking down the whole into its constituent parts. So for example, कि आपके पास we had said identify the mistake in the program written in C++. कौन आइडेंटिफाई करेगा? जो माइन्यूटली स्टेप बाय स्टेप उस प्रोग्राम को एनालाइज करेगा, वही तो आइडेंटिफाई कर पाएगा. देन इफ आई से कि गोल्ड प्राइसेस क्यों बढ़ रहे हैं, इट ऑल्सो रिक्वायर्स ability to analyze. If I say I take you to the industrial area and there are a number of industry and the air pollution is there, identify the industries which are contributing to the air pollution in the industrial area. It will also require analysis of the given situation. Then comes the next higher level, evaluating. Evaluation क्या involve करती है? लिखा हुआ सामने, making judgments. Suppose कर लो, you go to the market, you want to buy a suit for yourself. तो आप क्या करते हो? Normally you ask the salesperson to show you the variety. You look at color, you look at quality of material, you look at the price, you look at the design, you find whether it is trendy or not. What you are doing? You are comparing it with certain criteria or a standard, and then you take a decision which one to buy. So all those things which require judgment, they fall in the category of evaluating. अब देखिए, every subject there may be number of materials which can be used. There can be more than 2 theories which are applicable. There may be 2 kind of processes which can be used to manufacture something. So the person has to make decisions. In those cases, the learning outcomes can be written at the evaluating level. I give you examples for that. Then creating involves synthesizing the knowledge, whatever you have gained up to evaluating, and creating something new. आप किसी चीज को डिजाइन करते हो, डिजाइन अ टूल, डिजाइन अ टेक्निक, डिजाइन अ प्लान और फॉर्मुलेट अ प्लान, राइट, और इवॉल्व स्ट्रैटेजीज, ये सब कहाँ आते हैं? Creating. Now let's have a quick look at some of the examples. These are some of the examples of learning outcomes at the remembering level. अब देखिए, आपने verbs कौन से यूज किए हैं? Define, state, name and list, है ना? These are sample verbs which can be used to write learning outcomes at the remembering level. All this requires rote memorization, recall of the information when it is needed. Correct? Next, इसको देखिए, understanding level. Derive the relationship between static and stagnation temperature. Explain the difference between normal and oblique shocks. Differentiate between shaft and jet propulsion. क्या हो गया? Verbs change हो गई हैं. We are not using define, state, list, name, नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are using the verbs derive, explain, compare, differentiate, interpret the given graph, or estimate, right? These are the sample verbs which can be used to write learning outcomes at the which level? Understanding. फर्क है ना रिमेम्बरिंग से? वो रोट मेमोराइजेशन था, ये क्या है? एक्सप्लेनिंग थिंग्स इन वंस ओन वर्ड्स, राइट? देन सी, ये बहुत भी है, बट ओके, अप्लाइंग rules are most, concepts are used. So when you use calculate, determine, demonstrate, apply, ये सब क्या आ रहे हैं? राइट, सॉल्व, ये क्या आ रहे हैं? Applying. Whatever the concepts, the principles, the formula the student has learned, he is able to apply in a new situation. Underlying word is new situation, right? Clear? Then excuse me. Now, these are examples of learning outcomes at the analyzing level. So, student is able to identify the causes for failure of a given machine. It is not why machines fail, but a given machine, the person has to find out the reasons for its failure. So it is more than application where you are trying to break down the whole into its constituent part and find out which part is dysfunctional or faulty. Locate the fault, locate mistakes, or analyze the reasons for air pollution. This example I have already given. And then identify the reasons for breaking off crankshaft. Explain the probable causes. Analysis. ठीक है? Or if you say there is a circuit diagram prepared by the learner and one learner, but it is not, you give it to another learner and say, find out the fault in this circuit diagram. This is nothing but learning outcome at the analyzing. ठीक है, मूव करें आगे. Then the highest level of learning वो creating है. उससे पहले क्या आ रहा है जी?
previous slide you have mentioned
इससे भी पीछे.
there is a portion of understanding.
अब अंडरस्टैंडिंग पे जाऊं. ओके, एरो. हाँ जी,
Estimate the population of India by 2050.
हाँ जी.
तो क्या ये एग्जांपल एनालाइजिंग में
नहीं. Once the data has been given, you can calculate the rate of interest and apply the formula to find out the population for 2050. Analyze होगा से आप कहते हैं कि 2050 में the population there will be more of youngsters as compared to the people with 65 plus. Say मैं ये कहती हूँ statement. Now I say analyze and say why this will happen. Why? What will lead to increase in the population of young persons in India by 2050? वो क्या होगा? Analysis. ठीक है. अब देखिए यहाँ पे आ जाओ. These are wherever you have more than one material to be used, more than one theory which is applicable, more than one principle which can be applied in a given situation, the person has to select. The person has to judge the worth of different materials, different theories, different models, different principles, and then make a decision. So these are all learning outcomes which involved a component of judgment. Component of judgment. So judge the appropriate, determine the relevance, judge the adequacy. ये क्या होगा? These are all at evaluating level. Determine the adequacy of resources for creating cloud computing facility in an institution is nothing but a learning outcome at the evaluation level. है ना? Whether the institutions are ready for online learning, if we try to find out, this is nothing but evaluating. ठीक, लग नहीं रहा? हाँ जी, clear है? Okay. Then the highest level of learning is at the creating level. ठीक है. अब wherever your courses allow a person to design a technique, design a tool, design a machine, design a building, right? Or the person is required to formulate plans, evolve strategies. Say, for example, you want to say that solar energy that need to be conserved. What could be the strategies for conservation of solar energy? This is a very open-ended. There can be number of right answers to this question. All these things are the learning outcomes at the creating level. Gee. And when I have to design a carburetor, I need to think of the function of the engine, the role of carburetor in that engine. I need to understand the concept of carburetor, the principles of designing engine and the principles of designing carburetor. ठीक है? So design करने के लिए whatever knowledge I has accumulated, that will be applied in creating something new. Creating something new. ठीक? So learning outcomes in the cognitive domain can be written at 6 different levels, starting with remembering, which requires rote memorization and recall of information. Understanding level, where the learner is to explain the things in his own words, like theories, concepts, examples, and phenomena or principles, where wherever the explanation is to be given, that is at the understanding level. Applying is the application of the learned concepts, rules, factual information in new situation. Then comes analyzing, breaking down the whole into its constituent parts. That means identifying reason, determining the causes. है ना? ये क्या होगा? Analyzing. Then comes evaluating. Wherever there are more than two materials, two techniques, two theories, two principles applicable in a given situation, the person has to make the judgment and take a decision. So, selection of things. Wherever these are involved, those will be at the evaluating level. And the highest level is creating, using the information to create something new. ठीक है? Next comes, now ये कुछ example आप देख सकते हो, maybe descriptive research. So one can see that, familiar हो research से? Yes, the people who are already done the masters, they already have the knowledge with respect to research. So one of the topics in that is descriptive research. Then you can see communication, some of the examples, or you can see civil engineering, some of the example of simple stresses and strains at the topic level, at the topic level, right? Then you can see for bending moments and shear forces, right? Now, if I say derive and interpret, कौन से लेवल का है? कौन से लेवल का लर्निंग आउटकम है डिराइव एंड इंटरप्रेट? अंडरस्टैंडिंग. ड्रॉ करना है, ड्रॉ शेयर फोर्स. ये नई सिचुएशन होगी तो एप्लीकेशन, अदरवाइज अंडरस्टैंडिंग. किसी चीज का ड्राइंग करना है, राइट? डिटरमिन द इफेक्ट्स ऑफ एक्सटर्नल लोड्स. डिटरमिन, ओके, इन अ गिवन सिचुएशन है तो अप्लाई है. Then you can see this is for surveying. Classify surveys according to instruments, methods, purpose, and place. Understanding. Classification dena is understanding, right? If I understand the shapes, I can say whether it falls in triangle, circle, or a rectangle or a square. I can classify the shapes into various categories. अब ये देखिए, now DC machines, again, right winding scheme for the immature winding, right?
First, remembering.
Understanding. अगर तो एक गिवन वाइंडिंग मशीन, वाइंडिंग का हमने देना है, वाइंडिंग स्कीम क्या होती है, इट इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग. लेकिन अगर किसी नई जगह पे हमने वाइंडिंग स्कीम बनानी है तो वो क्या होगा? क्रिएटिव. वो क्रिएटिव, राइट? दिस इज मल्टी स्टेज, इसको छोड़ लेते हैं. नाउ वी मूव ऑन टू, ये था नॉलेज रिलेटेड, है ना? जितना आप थ्योरी पढ़ाते हैं, थ्योरी पढ़ने के बाद यू एक्सपेक्ट अ लर्नर टू डू समथिंग, वो सारा कॉग्निटिव डोमेन का कंपोनेंट. नाउ कम्स द साइकोमोटर डोमेन, दैट इज द स्किल्स. होती क्या है स्किल? इफ आई आस्क यू, स्किल क्या होती है? Okay, ability to do a task or ability to do or perform a task with speed, accuracy, and precision. Oh, accuracy and precision and smoothness. Okay, ठीक है, ठीक है. So, skill requires a person to perform a task, an ability to do something. And when you take the students to the lab or the workshop, नॉर्मली एक्सपेरिमेंट जब आप कराते हो तो क्या करते हो?
First we perform basic
Okay, this is the first stage of learning a skill, which is referred to as imitation. An expert demonstrates the task, how it is being performed, and the learner simply observes and tries to imitate the expert. Imitation. Okay? The next level is manipulation. Manipulation क्या होता है?
चेंजिंग द वेरिएबल्स हम जैसे मैम हमने जैसे किसी और कंसिडरेशन में किया उनका किसी और कंसिडरेशन में किया उनका आंसर कुछ और आया
वो आप दूर चले गए हो. मैनिपुलेशन टर्म्स ऑफ
चेंजिंग द वेरिएबल्स टू द
ओके, हम रिसर्च की टर्मिनोलॉजी में, एक्सपेरिमेंट की टर्मिनोलॉजी में बोल रहे हैं. मैनिपुलेशन मीन्स अलाउइंग द लर्नर टू हैंडल द मशीनरी एंड इक्विपमेंट. पहले तो आप कर रहे थे, नाउ एक स्टेज आती है जहाँ पे यू अलाउ द लर्नर टू मैनिपुलेट. बट व्हेन द लर्नर डज दैट, is there accuracy, is there speed? कि गलतियां होती हैं. Initially there are number of mistakes made by the learner. So manipulation stage पे there are number of mistakes which are made by the learner. The next higher level of skill learning is precision. Precision means accuracy. So अगर सपोज कर लीजिए मैं कार चलाना सीख रही हूँ, नाउ आई कैन इंसर्ट द की विद एक्यूरेसी. आई कैन ओपन द डोर. I can open the door, I can sit, I can then insert key and start the engine. I can change the gears, I can depress, I can accelerate. लेकिन मैं इंडिविजुअली तो ये सब कुछ अच्छे से करती हूँ जब सीख रही हूँ. अगर आप मैं कहते हो कि चलो भाई सड़क पे आप चलाओ, कोऑर्डिनेट नहीं होता. नॉर्मली व्हेन वी लर्न ड्राइविंग, वो आपको एक्सपर्ट कहता है चेंज द गियर, इसको तीसरे में डालो, तो दूसरे पे ही अड़ के बैठ जाता है, चलना ही नहीं आगे. वो कहता है भाई स्पीड कम करो, और स्पीड जा रही है. या वो कहता है दाएं घुमाओ बाएं घुमाओ, उल्टा ही चल रहा है. कोऑर्डिनेशन नहीं होती. सो कोऑर्डिनेशन कब आती है? आफ्टर लॉट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस. दैट स्टेज इज रेफर्ड टू एज आर्टिकुलेशन. एंड एक स्टेज ऐसी आ जाती है where you are now the master of that skill, and you can now modify, you can adapt, you can create something new. अब देखिए, आपने प्लेन में गाड़ी चलानी सीखी, अब आप हिली एरिया में चला रहे हो. आपने ट्रैफिक के बिना गाड़ी चलानी सीखी, अब आप फुल ट्रैफिक ऑन है, सड़क पे आराम से गाने भी सुन रहे हो, बैनर्स भी पढ़ रहे हो, बातें भी कर रहे हो, and you are able to do that. That's the stage where you are now skilled driver. You are able to drive without paying attention to the X. Then a person, जब ये मोबाइल फोन आया था, it was meant for either sending the message or receiving the message, either orally or in written form. आज आप पूरा कॉमर्स बिजनेस कर लेते हो, पूरा करते हो. Who has added those features? The person who has mastered the skill of assembling the mobile phone, designing the mobile. वही तो कर पाया. अभी लोग आप देखे होंगे, मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर्स और द ऑटोमोबाइल इंजीनियर्स, they come out with hybrid cars. किसी के पहिए, किसी का इंजन, किसी की सीट, किसी का कुछ अलग अलग लाके असेंबल कर देते हैं, ऐसे मोटरसाइकिल डिजाइन करते हैं. These are the people who have now attained the level of natural language. ठीक है? हम लोग when we teach our students, we give them limited opportunity for practice. Aim क्या है? With practice, one can go to the level of natural language. Otherwise, we are somewhere between precision and articulation. एक तो प्रॉब्लम है, एक चांस देते हैं बच्चों को लैब में, वर्कशॉप में, तो परफेक्शन कहाँ से आएगी? ओनली विद. So this is where when we have, suppose कर लीजिए You expect your student to verify Ohm's law. सिंपल है, सबको आता होगा. वेरीफाई करना है Ohm's law. These are the steps involved in verification of Ohm's law. सबसे पहले क्या है? सर्किट डायग्राम बनाएगा. बनाएगा कि नहीं? फिर हाँ जी ड्रॉ कर ली उसने. फिर उसमें क्या अपरेटस उसको चाहिए होगा वो उसने सिलेक्ट कर लिया. देन क्लीन द एंड्स ऑफ कनेक्टिंग वायर्स. एंड ये मैंने सब क्या करा है? ड्रॉ इज द एक्शन वर्ब, क्लीन इज द एक्शन वर्ब, मेक इज द एक्शन वर्ब, डिटरमिन द जीरो एरर इज द एक्शन वर्ब. सो आपने जो प्रोसीजर था टू वेरीफाई ओम्स लॉ उसको एक्शन वर्ब यूज करते हुए पूरा लिख दिया. So that is nothing but all the learning outcomes to perform the verification of Ohm's law. Clear? तो लैब में जो आप कराते हो, वर्कशॉप में जो कराते हो, फील्ड सर्विस कराते हो, रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट बच्चों को दे देते हो, they are nothing but examples of learning outcomes in the psychomotor domain. Okay? Clear? Then थर्ड कैटेगरी. अब ऐसे ये एग्जाम्पल आप देख लो. दिस इज फ्रॉम द कंप्यूटर साइंस. connect the computers in the local area network. So there are certain things. Any person from civil computer science? हो दो तीन ओके चार ओके. और कौन सा डिसिप्लिन है यहाँ पे? अप्लाइड साइंस, इलेक्ट्रिकल से हैं. ओके तो चलो वेरीफाइड. आप ओम्स लॉ तो सभी बेसिक फर्स्ट ईयर फिजिक्स, आपके भी केमिकल in chemical engineering. Okay, so you can, people from computer science can correct me. These are some of the functions which are to be performed at the administrator end. Then these are the functions which are to be performed at the client end, and you'll be able to create a local area network. ठीक है? So what you have done is simply stated the steps in performing the task starting with action. ठीक है जी? These become the learning outcome. Now we move on to affective domain. Third category is learning outcomes in affective domain. तो affective मैंने क्या बोला था? Attitudes and behaviors. And these have become more important in comparison to technical knowledge and skills. आज जो industry, the changes which have taken place, the students are expected to work in teams. The students are expected to work as leader, to work as a team member. So leadership behavior भी दिखाना पड़ता है, team member का भी. The person has to innovate. So creativity has become important. Communication. Communicate with the subordinates, communicate with the colleagues, communicate with the superiors, communicate with the people from within and people from outside. Communicate orally, communicate in writing. करना पड़ता. Communication has become, is the lifeline of any organization. These are all adaptability skills. ये सब कहाँ आती हैं? Attitudes and behavior. And how do we? This is one simple example. How do we develop our value system? Very layman explanation. सबसे पहले हम क्या करते हैं? When we are young, छोटे होते हैं, बच्चे होते हैं, there are do's and don'ts which we get from parents. Get up early in the morning. Speak truth. Always be cooperative. Don't quarrel. Don't talk to strangers. Don't be out for late night. So. Do's and don'ts. बच्चा क्या करता है? बड़ा बोल रहा है, मम्मी बोल रही, डैडी बोल रहे, भाई बोल रहा है, या आंटी बोल रही है, अंकल बोल रहा है, टीचर बोल रहा है, सब we keep on receive it. That we receive from the CDs. And gradually क्या होता है?
we start questioning some of the things. झगड़ा क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए, स्ट्रेंजर से क्यों नहीं बोलना चाहिए, झूठ क्यों नहीं बोलना चाहिए, we start questioning. जैसे जब शुरू में जब लैब में जाते थे क्या होता था, कोट पहन के आओ जी, भाई कोट क्यों जरूरी है, बाद में समझ आती है, पहले we start questioning, अरे लैब कोट जरूरी उठाना है, क्यों लेके जाना है, क्यों पहनना है. And when we used to enter the computer room, जब आप भी छोटे होंगे, स्टार्ट करी होगी अपनी डिप्लोमा, तो जूती बाहर उतार के जाते थे लैब में. तो कभी कभी आता था, क्यों भाई जूती लेके चले जाओ, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, धीरे धीरे प्लीज गेट टू. क्या है ये डूज एंड डोंट्स की तो मिलती है. जैसे आप लैब में लेके जाते हो बच्चों को एक्सपेरिमेंट कराना, आप कहते हो पहले सर्किट डायग्राम बनाओ, बच्चा कहता है व्हाई कांट आई मेक द कनेक्शंस डायरेक्टली, बिकॉज उसकी सेफ्टी के लिए आप बोल रहे हो, यू हैव टू चेक इट. ठीक है, तो we start accepting certain things and we start questioning other things, responding. Then comes आप लाइफ में टाइम को बुक करते थे, अहमियत देते हो, रिलेशनशिप को अहमियत देते हो, मनी को अहमियत देते हो, पंक्चुअलिटी को अहमियत देते हो, ऑनेस्टी को अहमियत देते हो, एल्डर्स को अहमियत देते हो, रिस्पेक्ट टू एल्डर्स, वैल्यू करते हो. All these are, and each one of us has thousands of things to which we attach value. करते हैं ना, हमारे लिए अहमियत रखती है. Then the question comes, अगर हमें कोई दो चीजों में से चूज करना पड़ जाए. For example, आप ट्रैवल कर रहे हो with very लोग अपने घर के किसी मेंबर के साथ, you meet with an accident, or say I meet with an accident, not you. ओके, तो दो चीजें हैं मेरे साथ. अगर मैं सच बोलती हूँ, द पर्सन हु इज विद मी विल गो टू द ग्रेव. अगर मैं झूठ बोलती हूँ तो मैं उसको बचा लूंगी. अब क्या चीज डिटरमिन करती है कि मैं सच बोलूंगी कि झूठ बोलूंगी? माय वैल्यू सिस्टम, टू व्हिच थिंग आई अकॉर्ड मोर वैल्यू. वैल्यू टू रिलेशनशिप और वैल्यू टू ऑनेस्टी. अगर आप ऑनेस्टी को वैल्यू करते हो तो बंदा जाए जेल में तो बोलोगे तो सच, लेकिन अगर आप अहमियत देते हो रिलेशनशिप को तो यू विल टेल अ लाई एंड लेट द पर्सन बी फ्री. ठीक, तो प्रायोरिटाइज करते हैं हम. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज कि अगर कभी मेरे लिए टाइम ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, फ्रेंडशिप ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, रिलेशनशिप ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, money ज़्यादा important है, so I have my own list, you might be having your own list, right? And then comes the characterization, that as an individual you personify that value. अब आप नॉन वायलेंस कहते हैं, किसका नाम याद आता है? देखिए, सबने बोला नॉन वायलेंस, है ना, और नॉन वायलेंस में सबने महात्मा गांधी बोला. आपकी बॉडी नहीं है, but Mahatma Gandhi, he was the one who never compromised on that. He always stood by that value. So उनकी characterization थी. आपने मदर टेरेसा, किसी ने बोला यहाँ पे, she was known for the social work she has done. So epitome of social work. Characterization. Yes. Characterization. तो ऐसे ही the person who never compromises and stands for his value system, we say कि he personifies that value. कहते हैं ना, अगर घड़ी देखने की जरूरत नहीं है, if so and so has come, इसका मतलब 9 बज गए. होता है ना कभी अपने अपने क्लिक्स में भी, यहाँ 5:30 बज गए तो you will not find that person on the seat. ऐसा भी होता है. So this is how effective domain. तो अब देखिए, एज अ टीचर मैं क्या चाहती हूँ, बड़ी सिंपल सी बात है. माई स्टूडेंट शुड ओबे द रूल्स. वो क्लासरूम के हुए, इंस्टीट्यूट रूल्स हों, लैब के रूल्स हों, वर्कशॉप के रूल्स हों, माई स्टूडेंट शुड ओबे द रूल्स. ऑब्जर्व सेफ्टी प्रिकॉशंस इन द लैब्स एंड वर्कशॉप्स. हर टीचर चाहेगा कि देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी untoward incident which should happen. I want my students to be regular and punctual for my class. चाहते हैं ना हम सब?
cooperate with others. आपने एक टीम बनाई या ग्रुप बनाया, you expect that students would share the resources, share the knowledge with each other, exhibit honesty, respect others. These are few examples of learning outcomes in the affective domain. ठीक है, अब मैं वापस जा रही हूँ, जो मैंने आपको देखिएगा प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स दिखाए थे बिगिनिंग में A to K. अब उसमें आप सोचो कि ये किस लेवल का है. अब ये प्रोग्राम आउटकम की बात कर रही हूँ एट द प्रोग्राम लेवल. द वेरी फर्स्ट वन विच यू रीड, apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals and engineering specializations to the solution of complex engineering problems. किस लेवल का ये लर्निंग आउटकम्स है, कौन सी डोमेन में आता है? कॉग्निटिव. At which level? Apply. Next you read problem analysis. Identify, formulate, review and analyze complex. Highest level कौन सा है? Analyze. इसमें analyze है ना. So learning outcome again in the cognitive domain at the analysis. थर्ड पे जाइए, डिजाइन एंड डेवलप सॉल्यूशन. डिजाइन कौन सा लेवल आ गया? क्रिएटिंग है ना. डेवलप करेंगे तो हो सकता है साइकोमोटर स्किल्स भी कुछ पार्ट हो जाए, राइट. देन गो टू द फोर्थ वन, कंडक्ट इन्वेस्टिगेशंस ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम्स. साइकोमोटर स्किल लेवल का है. देन modern tool usage, psychomotor skills. अब आगे देखिए, ये 5 तो हैं सोसाइटी affective domain, good, and then 7 affective, environment and sustainability, matter of attitude and behavior, sensitivity to the environment, है ना. Then ethics, professional ethics, effective domain. Next, individual and teamwork, effective domain. Communication, effective domain, है ना. तो आगे चलेंगे, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट एंड फाइनेंस. अब ये दो चीजें करता है, कॉग्निटिव एंड अफेक्टिव, दोनों आ रही है. देन कम्स lifelong learning. Concept, it's a matter of attitude. आपने एमई कर ली या मैंने पीएचडी कर ली या आपने पीएचडी कर ली, उसके बाद बस अब किताब नहीं, हाथ नहीं लगाएंगे, बहुत हो गया. I stopped there, but knowledge always grows and you need to be updating your knowledge. तो वो continuous process है. उसके लिए क्या चाहिए? lifelong learning skills are needed. So recognize the need for and have the provision and ability again. So out of the 12 जो program outcomes हैं, 5 हैं जो directly technical knowledge and skills relate कर रहे हैं. बाकी जो सारे 7 के 7 हैं, they are primarily in the effective. So you can see this is the most neglected area in our education system. पढ़ा तो देते हैं, लेकिन बात कैसे करनी है बड़ों के साथ या सीनियर्स के साथ या सुपीरियर्स के साथ, या टेक्निकल रिपोर्ट राइटिंग कैसे करनी है. बच्चों को ये नहीं सिखाते कि कम्युनिटी की नीड क्या है, उसको कैसे मीट करना है बाय थ्रू रिसर्च एंड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग. वी डोंट टीच देम. सो इफेक्टिव डोमेन इज मच मोर इम्पोर्टेंट एज कंपेयर टू टेक्निकल नॉलेज. तो as a teacher, I am not only writing learning outcomes in cognitive and psychomotor domain, but I also need to keep in mind the learning outcomes and affective.